A cold wind pushed through the open windows of the university hallway that night, carrying with it the kind of silence that only comes after everyone has gone home. But inside classroom 314, one man was still working. Imagine this: a janitor, a single dad, a man most people never looked at twice, standing alone in front of a giant whiteboard covered in an equation so strange, so impossible looking, that even the math majors joked it could only be solved by aliens. And then, out of nowhere, a woman's voice behind him. "If you solve that," she laughed, "I'll marry you." He turned around slowly. It was Professor Harper, the sharp, brilliant, brutally honest mathematician everyone respected, and feared a little. She was joking, of course. Everyone joked with Daniel. No one expected him to take anything seriously. No one expected him to be anything more than the guy with the mop. But that night, everything was about to flip. Stay with me, because what happens next will make your jaw drop. Daniel wasn't even supposed to be in that classroom. His shift ended at 9, but he stayed late most nights because he needed the extra money. Being a single father wasn't easy, especially when your little boy kept getting sick and the medical bills never stopped coming. But Daniel never complained. He worked quietly, humbly, with a tired smile that said he'd rather be here than anywhere else. Professor Harper was leaning against the wall, arms folded, waiting for a student who forgot her notebook. She didn't expect anyone to still be there, especially not Daniel, staring at that nightmare equation like he was actually studying it. "What's that look for?" she asked, half teasing. Daniel shrugged. "Just reminds me of something." "You do math?" She blinked. "I used to, before." He didn't finish. He didn't need to. Harper had no idea who he really was. Nobody did. They only saw the uniform, not the life behind it. So, still smiling, she tapped the board with her marker and said, "Go on then. Solve it, and I'll walk down the aisle with you." Daniel leaned forward, reading the symbols carefully. And something inside him changed. His eyes sharpened. His posture straightened. Harper noticed it immediately. This wasn't the tired janitor who swept floors. This was someone else. Someone who once belonged in rooms exactly like this. "You really want me to?" Daniel asked quietly. Harper smirked. "Sure. Knock yourself out." He picked up the marker. And what happened next made her heart actually skip. His hand moved fast, confident, drawing shapes, flipping variables, turning total chaos into perfect order. Minutes passed. Harper's smile faded. Then her jaw dropped. "No way," she whispered. "No way." The equation she had wrestled with for 2 whole weeks was now solved, perfectly, elegantly, beautifully. Daniel capped the marker and stepped back, like he'd just finished wiping a window. You're not serious," Harper breathed. "Where did you learn to do that?" Daniel took a long breath. "I had a full scholarship once. Top of my class in math. I was supposed to finish college, get my degree, but then my wife got sick. I dropped out, took any job I could to keep the family together. After she passed, the degree didn't matter anymore. My son did." Harper felt something inside her crack. She had spent years surrounded by students who took education for granted. And here stood a man who once held pure brilliance in his hands, and gave it all up out of love. "And you're cleaning classrooms?" she whispered. "It's honest work," Daniel said, giving a weak smile. "And it lets me be home when my son needs me." For the first time, Harper really looked at him. Not as a janitor. Not as a joke. As a human being who had carried more weight than most professors ever would. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "I shouldn't have joked like that." Daniel waved it off. "No harm done." But Harper couldn't let it go. Something about his quiet strength stirred her. Not pity. Respect. "Daniel," she said, "you shouldn't be here." He chuckled. "Well, someone has to mop the floors." "That's not what I mean," she said firmly. "You shouldn't just be cleaning. You should be teaching, solving, using that mind of yours." Daniel looked back at the board. Life had other plans. But you can still change them. Harper insisted. It's never too late. Before she could say more, Daniel's phone buzzed. He glanced at the screen and froze. My son, he whispered. He's having trouble breathing again. Harper didn't hesitate. I'll drive. They ran across the dark parking lot, and for the first time in years, someone helped Daniel instead of watching him struggle alone. At the hospital, while Daniel held his frightened little boy, Harper stayed right by their side, bringing water, talking to nurses, making sure they weren't ignored in the crowded ER. Hours later, the boy finally stabilized. Daniel exhaled, shaking with relief. You didn't have to stay, he told her. Yes, Harper said softly. I did. That night, sitting in plastic chairs under harsh lights, she learned the full story. How he worked 2 jobs, how he still studied math books late at night just for fun, how his son thought his dad was a real-life superhero, even when the world treated him like a shadow. And Harper realized something big. Kindness isn't loud. It isn't fancy. It isn't something you post about. Sometimes kindness is a father giving up everything for his child. Sometimes it's a professor sitting beside a janitor in a hospital waiting room. Sometimes it's simply seeing someone, truly seeing them. The next week, Harper marched straight into the dean's office. I want to recommend someone for a full scholarship, she said. For one of your students? The dean asked. No, Harper replied. For one of our janitors. The dean frowned, then listened, then stared in total disbelief when he heard the story. Within a month, Daniel was offered a full ride to finish his degree. Not only that, Harper arranged tutoring, flexible class schedules, and even a small grant to help with his son's medical bills. When she handed him the acceptance letter, Daniel's eyes filled with tears. He tried to hide them. I can't accept this, he whispered. Yes, you can, Harper said. Because you earned it long ago, and because kindness comes back when you least expect it. Daniel hugged his son so tight, overwhelmed. Harper watched with a warm smile. She never joked about marriage again. She didn't need to. What they built was something far deeper: trust, respect, and the kind of friendship that changes lives forever. And when Daniel finally stepped back into a university classroom, this time as a student, not the man with the mop, he looked at Harper across the room and whispered, Thank you for believing in me when no one else did. She shook her head gently. You believed first. I just reminded you. In a world that judges people by their job, their clothes, their bank account, or their past, kindness still has the power to rewrite everything. One gentle act. One moment of truly seeing someone's worth. Sometimes, one impossible equation. So as you go about your day today, remember this. Kindness doesn't need a degree, a title, or a spotlight. It just needs a heart willing to care. And when you choose kindness, you might just change a life. Maybe even your own.